They, the equivalent of the word money in the dictionary, Jews. Their sole widely accepted achievement by everyone is commerce. They have entered among the world's wealthiest families and flourished in the financial world. Somehow, the financial network extends to Jews, as if by magic. So, do you know how this happened? I present to you a video that smells of money, and as you watch in amazement, narrating the tragedies they went through, you may be astounded at how they turned it into a staggering wealth. One of the fundamental reasons behind Jews mastering the world of money is their religious beliefs. As a result of defeats suffered in the Jewish-Roman wars between 70 and 136 AD, a significant Jewish population was either exiled to various regions of the Roman Empire or taken as slaves. Over time, the establishment of new states in Europe and the dominance of Christianity marked the beginning of difficult times for the Jews. Indeed, according to the Bible, the prophet Jesus was subjected to many persecutions by the Jews and was even crucified and killed under the pressure of the Jews. This situation led to the enmity of the Christian population towards the Jews and their marginalization. So much so that even before the Middle Ages, Jews were strictly prohibited from owning land, reading, serving in the military, or holding positions in royal authorities in Europe. In many places, they were even prohibited from entering city centers. In such an environment of exclusion, Jews had only a few professions they could pursue: craftsmanship and usury. Usury was indeed prohibited in Christianity, but Jews were allowed to engage in money lending, namely usury, to non-Jews. In the Old Testament, the book of Deuteronomy states, "Do not charge a fellow Israelite interest, whether on money or food or anything else that may earn interest. You may charge a foreigner interest, but not a fellow Israelite, so that the Lord your God may bless you in everything you put your hand to in the land you are entering to possess." Usury, referred to as lending money at high interest rates, became one of the fundamental professions in Jewish ghettos and served as the precursor to banking, enabling some Jews to accumulate wealth. Now let's go back to the Jews of the Middle Ages. Yes, enriching themselves through lending at high interest rates was not the only way for Jews, as wealthy Europeans who borrowed from Jews could at any moment incite the public, raid Jewish neighborhoods, and plunder their wealth. At this point, the second factor that forms the basis of Jewish commercial success comes into play: kinship ties. To avoid the risk of being plundered, Jews protected themselves by entrusting their wealth to relatives living in safer countries and cities, rather than keeping it in their possession. Therefore, they refrained from investing in real estate for centuries. Their philosophy was, be ready to flee. Invest in what is light in load and heavy in price. Following this principle, they converted their earnings into more valuable metals, such as gold and silver instead of real estate. These metals held value worldwide, ensuring they did not lose their wealth even if they were expelled. Furthermore, due to their small numbers and being marginalized throughout Europe, tightly holding on to each other was of great importance for Jews. Because they could not practice the professions allowed for Christians, they could only engage in these businesses with each other. Take a look around you. Even in friendly environments, you've probably seen or experienced people envying each other because of the money they earn. However, for a Jew, the wealth of friends and relatives is as crucial as their own wealth, because surviving in any other way is impossible. Money attracts money. Therefore, when Jews opened job opportunities for their neighbors, they also ensured the prosperity of their relatives living in other countries by including them in their businesses. Despite being scattered and exiled to different countries, the necessity of marrying only Jews due to their religious beliefs and their small numbers allowed their bonds to continue unbroken. This, in turn, enabled them to open their arms to each other when in need. The foundations of many contemporary large family businesses were laid by these Jewish kinship relationships. In the video, we mentioned that Jews were forbidden from engaging in trade and receiving education in the countries where they resided. Therefore, financially well-off families sent their children to live with relatives in other countries for a part of their lives, allowing them to learn different trades and see the world more broadly. Similarly, modern large family businesses compel their children to work in different companies for a while after university, instead of immediately bringing them into their own companies, ensuring they see the system more objectively. A famous Jewish saying succinctly summarizes this educational process: if you don't teach your children how to make money, they will learn how to steal. Friends, do you think it's a coincidence that not only numerous names like Rothschild and Einstein, but even Christopher Columbus, the discoverer of America, might be Jewish? They don't just sell coffee, they also sell conscience. Be attentive to the commercial trap you encounter right now. Let's compare two coffee companies. One produces excellent coffees that appeal to your taste. The other advertises that a portion of the earnings from every coffee you buy will go to impoverished children in Africa or provide scholarships for deprived young people. Which coffee company would you prefer? Another Jewish philosophy that forms the fundamental logic of today's major companies is this: if you earn $10, live a $1 life. When you look at established companies, you might have noticed that family members try not to be in the media spotlight and avoid ostentation. You may not even know many of them, but Jews have made a contribution to today's business world. This is because a Jew living ostentatiously in Europe would attract attention and inevitably face someone's wrath. Enriched Jews dressed inconspicuously and avoided extravagance. If you earn 10, live a 1 life, spend 1 on worship, help with 1, make new investments with 2, and save the remaining 5. This is also called the jar system. After all, the purpose of making money is to live comfortably. One of the definitions of comfort is having savings to cover your needs when necessary. Therefore, no matter how much you earn, if you can set aside half of it, only then can you be considered successful. And here's a detail. This requires not just a lifetime of work, but an obligation to think infinitely. According to Jewish principles, being good at a job takes a long time that won't fit into a single person's lifetime. Ultimately, you can sink or rise in any job, but permanence spans centuries. Therefore, if you don't pass on the intricacies of the trade you've learned to the next generation, your children, and ensure they continue working in that field, you have failed. When you hear the stories of most Jewish companies anywhere in the world, you often find that they started as small shops in back alleys and later became institutionalized. This is because the Jewish business mentality says, "Are you an ordinary carpenter? Then do your job with love. Take bad things from someone who needs to praise bad products. If you say your bad product is bad, you don't need to talk about the goodness of your other products. Don't speak negatively about anyone you do business with. Stick to your agreements. If you listen to these words, you will sell the most chairs in your neighborhood. If your children listen, they will be the ones selling the most chairs in your town. If your grandchildren listen, no one else can sell chairs except your family." Now let's explain this with an example from our own lives. Let's say you are a construction worker and want your children to go to school. This is a wrong approach according to Jewish logic. If you are a construction worker and manage to save some of what you earn, the only thing you need to do is to learn the intricacies of your job well. If you have saved enough money for your children to build and sell a house, your grandchildren will now be building the best houses for hundreds of people. Another key point is knowing that giving up 3 liras for your friends will bring in 5 for your children. What does this mean? Now we are facing an interesting situation. During the construction of a tourist port, which I won't name, local businessmen entered the bid to operate the port and put forth the highest amount. However, a mysterious Jewish businessman emerged and warned, "If I don't take over the operation of this port, not a single tourist will come here." Indeed, international travel agencies began canceling cruise tours, and the port operation was given to the Jewish family. This is what is called supporting each other. Always consult someone knowledgeable. Jewish businessmen seek the opinions of mentors, or mentors when they are in difficult situations. A mentor with experience in trade from outside the company, who can provide guidance without emotions, will always give more accurate advice than those directly involved in the business. Always put it in writing. If you listen to the street, you will hear and see people who lend to their friends but cannot collect, or those who guarantee a loan but face heavy payments. However, Jews never make verbal agreements. Trust and trade are entirely different, because humans are fallible and words can be forgotten, but the written word remains. Otherwise, when asking for your debt, you would say, "I'll pay, just wait." Money? You might feel embarrassed as if words about money were as important to you as they were to you. Give first, then sell. One of the smartest moves of Jews is to create a need before making a sale. Imagine you have a tractor factory. If you distribute these tractors for free to large farmers, after a while, there will be a need for spare parts and repairs. This means opening new factories in that region and starting product sales. Also, the best advertisement is word of mouth. So, every farmer to whom you gave a free tractor will actually facilitate other farmers buying tractors from you. Because human nature is like that. Everyone wants others to taste a dish they love. Ask yourself if this is true or not. You might say, not every Jew is rich. Of course not. Different classes are needed for societies to survive. Yes, there are poor Jews, and there are Jews who have failed in their ventures. However, our focus here is that despite making up only 0.2% of the world's population, Jews have achieved commercial success 90, 100 times their population capacity. The truth is, there are many economic lessons we can learn from them, and they will undoubtedly continue to be one of the world's most influential communities for years to come. Hopefully, one day, they will open the door to world peace as much as their determination in trade. The video was this much. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.